higher for 1GH. That's some material some coswans so because the latest update na bro. So na be updated. So na be also be the bu hu nieme bia wo sa wotia e koso Ghana no ba kumpo empower ti so benya kwenye ti ahwe hu de wo se wo ye de uti bia. Wo so nsa ka bia na wa ye de wa hya ma onua enso ehu de ko bia enso already enfe ni nchim ne nka de wo nchema. Yebeka ya ene na High Court a share so betina NDC case Supreme Court a kwashe because of EC and High Court actions be omo take case and be ya sit in bedding because could the MPP phone sem no omo kwashe ema Supreme Court cancel omo sambra back to High Court na ombe hearing ombiti e insem yi na omfa a good ruling and embra na as we speaking no enna omuhyiai na so no adwento ato na anko so omatu ahyene a chese ne nom du rule ne ebeba na enno enna chese ndi su lawyers akukudam eni MPC ya de ababontin edin chichimu ya de ababetudwa na so mo kan very interesting omo di kind strong warning ababontin kase that High Court judge no I know better case in so the ruling abano. They must obey the law. They must obey the law. They must allow the law to speak. They should put partisan and everything aside and make sure our democracy and the constitution ebijina. And yes, sir. And yes, sir. I'm going to see the NDC Foṛce on
after a long, or should I say prolonged dispute between the NDC and the NPP in Dominkwabenya, yesterday Likli Makrugu was declared as MP-elect for that constituency. And I have joining me this morning via Zoom Roxy Nelson Depemopo. He's lawyer and member of parliament. He's rather on phone for South Dai. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We just want to understand how the news came to you this morning. We know that it's been a long-fought battle. And what is the mood from the party this morning?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to your listeners. Is it Joy News or Joy?
Yes, no, this is Joy News, the AM show. Yeah.
Good morning, viewers.
Yeah.
And a very special Happy New Year to everyone, especially my people in Southern Betongo. The party is very glad about this outcome. And indeed, it's been a position that we have espoused in respect of the issue concerning Dominkwabenya parliamentary elections outcomes from the word go. You recall that we have insisted that the inactions or the omissions of an EC officer ought not to adversely affect the interests of a parliamentary contestant. And yet, EC insisted on conducting a rerun. Indeed, even before then, the EC had called to, as it were, engage in what they call a recollation sometime nearly 2 weeks ago at the regional office at Reach. There you saw the party resisting vehemently that process was potentially unlawful under the statutes, the rules, the regulations that govern our public elections. But they insisted. So if you heard the EC commissioner yesterday going to a long narrative, long narrative in order to arrive at a very small conclusion. He was a journey to nowhere. The law was very clear that where the people's mandates have been cleared, in pursuance of several case laws, some even local classicals on this matter, cases like ex parte Asari and ex parte Collins Dowda. The Supreme Court have had calls to pronounce on this matter. That where declarations are made.
Okay.
I mean, and the remediable steps available to an aggrieved party is to petition the High Court in pursuance of Article 99 1A of the Constitution, and also in pursuance of Section 20 of PNAC Law 284 of 1992. So this circuitous process that is taking nearly 3 weeks to resolve was most unnecessary. But the party is happy that we are here today.
Okay. And you are also a lawyer, so I want to pick your thoughts on, you know that the court is set to rule on NDC, that mandamus application today. What are your expectations? We also know that the crux of your argument is that in respect to Okaikwe Central, I think Tema Central, Techiman South and Ablikuma North, was that the election petition is in disguise and the same should not be entertained. But what are your expectations awaiting the verdict today?
We are actually en route to the court. We are on our way. The expectation of the party today is that the court will apply the laws as enacted by Parliament clearly. Where declarations have been, I've in my earlier submissions, I've rattled out some case laws that have made announcements on the matter. So I will apply them to say that where a procedure has been provided in law for a thing to be done, it's only that procedure that has to be followed. So when you are agreed with the declaration of the outcome of the parliamentary election, the remedy available to you is to petition a court of law and not to bring an application seeking a mandamus to act it will compel an EC officer to do an official act that EC officer has already carried out. However agreeable you are about that carrying out of that official act. So we are going to the court. The arguments have been effusively made in opposition to the application, and we think that the court will find favor with the position that we've taken, which will firmly anchor the law and procedure.
Okay. Even before the conclusion of the matter at Domekwa Benya, you were claiming victory. The NDC was claiming victory in all these constituencies that were in contention. Now 1 down, 4 to go. And you say that you hope the court will find favor with, your case. What happens if they do not? If the verdict is not in your favor today? What then?
I can tell you, we'll advise our position in law, but I can tell you that may not be the end. Because where the law is clear, the law is very clear. And you see, as public officers and public entities, you cannot conduct public affairs according to your will and capacity. It has to be in accordance with the laws that govern that particular act. So the laws that govern our public, the conduct of our public elections, especially CI 127, very clearly, many. So, like you said, if the court does not find favor with our position, we will advise our position as to what to do next. Okay.
Thank you so much for spending a bit of your morning with us. That is Foṛce Nelson Dapiamakpo, a lawyer and member of the NDC legal team, as well as the member of parliament for South Dine.
If you really want to look at the status of the Ghanaian economy currently, there's one institution that you need to speak to, or you need to find out what they've been saying about our current status as far as Ghana is concerned, and that is the IMF. Why is it so? Because we have a pact with the IMF, a 3-year pact that started in 2023, should be ending somewhere 2026. We do not know. The current administration says that, the John Domano administration says that they'll be looking for a renegotiation. Does that mean that we're going to have an extension of the IMF program? They have been saying that, look, you've been able to gain some sort of a rebound, but know that the current progress you've chalked under the current IMF program is fragile, which means that, don't even start talking about recovery yet. You've started some good recovery. We've seen the economy growing. GDP growth rate is on a good trajectory. Inflation not really where we wanted it to be. But they are saying that the current progress we've chalked under the IMF program is fragile.
And that is in contrast with what the government is saying.
Exactly.
In fact, yesterday, the president, Akufo-Addo, mentioned that the economy is rebounding strongly. And you just showed us the slide where the finance minister said they're handing over a strong economy. What do you think accounts for the discrepancies in the reportage from the IMF and from the government?
What I know is that you cannot use fragile and strong at the same time. So definitely, if the IMF that has almost all the data concerning our economy, they've done a post hoc or post-mortem analysis of our economy, are saying that, look, even though you have some progress, we classify this progress as fragile.
Right.
So I don't think that neither the president, the Bank of Ghana governor, or the finance minister should be using the word strong economy, because we are not there yet. Why? Because the IMF continues to say that there is no room for complacency. Once you begin to speak and say that, look, I'm handing over a strong economy to you, then you are bringing in complacency. The IMF has been very clear. And this report that we are quoting from is the most recent IMF report on the Ghanaian economy, December 2024. Okay. And before Christmas, they told us that, we know you are going into a new year, a new government, but know that the progress you've chalked is fragile, number one, and two, there should be no room for complacency. That is what the IMF has been telling the government of Ghana and what they've been saying about the Ghanaian economy. Now, if you listen to the president and the finance minister when they make mention of a very strong economy, one economic indicator that they tend to bring on board is the economic growth rate. And we've been seeing how the economy has been performing this year. The last update that was given by the Ghana Statistical Service, we saw the economy growing more than 7% in the third quarter. We are hoping to see how the economy fared in the last quarter of this year, and we'll be able to get the average for 2024. But what we know is that coming into 2024, we saw a decline from 5.1% growth rate in 2021 to 2022 when we had the economic hardship, 3.8%, 2.9% in 2023. And this year we are hoping and praying that if all the numbers come together, we should be getting an average of maybe 6% for the year. But if you are talking about a strong economy, many have said that even the growth rate that we are enjoying now, it can be classified as paper growth. Why is it paper growth? Because it's inflated. It's induced by inflation, looking at the way we calculate the GDP growth rate of the country. Now, beyond GDP growth rate, one other indicator that we use to test the health of an economy is the average monetary policy rate, or the rate at which the central bank lends to the commercial banks. Currently, we know where we are at the moment, and this is the average lending rate if you go into the market. Are the private sector borrowing at a very low cost? The answer is simply no. If you look at the latest, around 30.8, and sweetie, if you go to the market to go and borrow, to the commercial bank to borrow, and they give you the slap on you an interest rate of 30.8% per annum, wild. That is really, really wild. At a point somewhere, 2017, 2018, we're doing way less, and now 30.8. It's not a clear indication that the economy is very strong or we are rebounding.
I'm curious to see what's explaining, where you go from here, because it looks like it wasn't much different from what John Dramani's previous administration handed over to this current administration. So in comparison, nobody did us any good?
Absolutely. And if I'm to use your words, we've said that one of the indicators to test or to give us a clear view of how presidential elections will be, we've said it here over and over, is the monetary policy rate and the rate at which banks, the central bank lends to the commercial banks. And if you look at 2016, when Ghanaians kicked out the NDC administration, the monetary policy rate, or the average monetary policy rate, was around 31.7. And we saw how President Akufo-Addo won that election with almost a landslide, 53.9%. That was a very, very heavy victory for them in 2016. This year, they gave the economy to them to reduce this number to somewhere, let's say 17 or maybe 15. But we are seeing the same number, almost the same number in 2024. And what did we see? They got punished. Where, we all know how they lost woefully in the 2024.
Kofi, I want you to hold on for me there. This is a very great point to usher in our guests into the conversation.
Yebeka NDC for a fight, a good fight, pa. Oma fight, a good fight for a year or more, and Ghana as a whole. They have make sure say a year constitution a big strong. Your democracy a big strong. They have make sure say our rule of law a be here juma. They have make sure say no other human being in Ghana, no individual, even the president, ain't go beyond and I say only above the law. The Jamens and then call for church and son of Modi sitting in my electric macrugu and the stress of the mammy FM, the back and forth. Near my see what damn man go out, something declare a sitting in my abujina po. Or yen pippin intino, a CBBI okay, and ye illegal. A honey a bunny petu, two kuno, a honor, the sinning na and ye illegal. Don't make kwabinya, near my corso. Mamma na fight ma a year or Michael Quay grandpa want because a year will be a we constituency. The Yanko Passy. So we enter 2028. Sarah Drassa for so about 1 time because the entire NPP lose in say. I found one Jimo Domiko Binya elections in Anuntina Michael Quay Elusino. Anuntina will lose. Well, Lucy, we are. After about 1 time because one tiasi, Emma easy and so etawaji. So any NDC for nom dominate for my head KBC. Presiding officer will declare result no or domikwa binya figures for the barbonting 51,000 and above. And now her result is declare. Akroma could end with that 51,000. Just a machination koswa so still now NDC for a dominance for making sure the right thing must be done. And no more barbonting I assure Ghanaians say the akoso ama Akroma no the same thing abekoso ama the Foṛce as Supreme Court a kwashi a ruling no High Court judge or tena a case no so kwashi ni ruling no ye beji sitting in nama those people because the presiding officer there a declare result on my NDC and there's no way I'll met nama easy about be declared that sitting on my MPP. MPP 7 seats. MPP. As if say, I am crying a good Akroma at teaching as if say someone is above the law. Now, Jamie saying we are above one time because say it's not my mandate, it's not in my power to make someone a president, to make someone an MP. You know this. Anyway. And our kind of keke. Unim way. Munim way say is in your jumano. Name the will of the Ghanaians a jumano. When you don't allow the will of the Ghanaians don't speak. Oh mad your mo person mo cano and ye juma wakamo kasabo show me yim. Na de mo pen fama more. The basic way to Messi. Ghana Foṛce in those constituencies ye pay. NDC was there be Foṛce ama MPP winning. In their constituency, they protected the ballot. They didn't sleep 24/7 I'm making sure say Omawini is presiding officer, returning officer, also NDC MP in Sakosro so ne wini. Now what Accra say illegal one penny. Tiantam constituency ni nyina Accra na yemfa mbra nkran na wo bechusu omo MP momo abekra constituency no manda I make sure say MP we ni epe ye choose no wo se dey bi o pese MPP ni nyebe MP momo nyina hwede ekoso ensama doji said the easy Foṛce ema no don pre declare ne win on the constituency for ni and ni bre ya diaba Yen pese side ne bekoso na kofan samaba. The right thing must be done. So as you speak, you know, NDC lawyers for no, I'm a pre-judgment. Say there was a case in the court. There was a judge of veterinary case in the Sweden. I was same rano Omani kasa. And when the law speaks so, there is no way NDC will be default in this case. They will win the case by crook or hook. So I must send the one. I must ruling a judge in the Baba say, oh, make sure say man mum ne be juma. And yes, I dear united them be. Same we no can be to my child under the comment section, subscribe and share. More news and Kebi. Obi Akroma.